What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This time we're checking out all the Street 1 cars that we got with the Season 4 update. There are 11 cars in total, 3 of which you can't get yet, and I'll talk about that as well. Let's go. All right, real quick before we get into it, if you're looking for any of my tunes, go to militiagamingco.com, click on Motorfest Pro Settings from the top or from the menu, and you can find all of my tunes along with 8 cores and some others in the community. All right, so let's get into these cars first. I want to talk about the cars that we just actually can't get yet and the reason why. There's 3 cars that are just not available right now, and that's the BMW M3 Sport Evolution. That's actually going to be the year 1 pass car for August. We'll get that on August 14th for some reason. I think it'll come before that, but they're saying August 14th as far as that goes. Now, other than that, we've got the KRC Japan Nissan 240SX. This was shown in some of the Season 4 artwork. When we were kind of getting excited for Season 4, we got to see this picture right here. This car actually looks really cool, and hopefully with the new body kit that the car comes with, it makes the car a little bit more competitive. The S14 in Street 1 is just really not great right now, but anyways, I'm hoping that we get a little bit of an improved version of that. And then lastly, the Toyota 2000 GT, and that's going to be a year 1 pass car as well. Again, August 14th for the year 1 pass. Kind of strange. I actually think that's the date that it'll be available for purchase. If you don't have the year 1 pass, it'll be available in the store on that date. We should get that at the beginning of August, the first week of August, if you do have the year 1 pass. So I'm not really sure. We'll just have to play it by ear. Now, there's also one extra car that's actually in this list that's not on my 11 cars list, and that's to be revealed. We don't really know which car that is. I don't know, there's probably leaks out there, but there's no official word on what that car actually is. So we're just going to forget about that for now. Let's talk about the worst Street 1 car that we have so far, and that is the 1971 Chevrolet Caprice. This car is god-awful. I mean, it's just absolutely terrible. It ranks like 49th on my list. It ran a 237 on Kyusha Spirit, which is just garbage. And then it ran a 210 on Kiss Me Combi. Again, terrible, terrible car. Not fun to drive. Insanely slow. I would just avoid it like the plague. Do not buy or get or race this car in the grand races unless you're looking for a lot of pain. Now, let's step up quite a bit into the 1987 Buick GNX El Sereno Lowrider Edition. Now, the Lowriders and the Donks, I was a little bit, I don't know about. They handle very differently than any other car in Street 1. Each of them has a weird, slightly different handling model, and it has to do with the tire size and the width and all this stuff. It just, I don't know. This one really doesn't perform well either, but it does perform better than that Caprice. So on Kyusha Spirit, it runs a 231 390, and Kiss Me Combi at 207 362. It's like right in the middle. It's not great. It's not terrible, let's say, but it's not great, and it's definitely not going to help you win any grand races. So I would avoid this one as well. And the next car after that is the 1987 Buick GNX West Side Lowrider Edition. Again, a car that just really is not great. It did run better times slightly than the Sereno, but both cars feel really similar. I think the West Side actually just feels like it has slightly more traction, and it's, I mean, the difference is like minimal, dude. Minimal. So I don't know, if you're gonna drive a lowrider, I would pick the West Side Lowrider Edition, but it really depends on your style and what you like, because neither car is fast. Just pick the one you like driving. Now let's talk about the first Donk in Street 1. This is the 1971 Chevrolet Caprice Weasel D Customs Donk Edition. Now, Weasel D feels pretty good. The problem with this car is that it just can't gutter to save its life. I feel like these big wheels, they just roll right over the gutter. They're not affected by the gutter the way other cars are. It doesn't hold you in there and bring you around the turn like it does with other cars. So it's just something that, you know, it's a flaw of the Donk style. And the other Donks also have this issue, but not quite as much. This Weasel D is just not great. Anyway, the times it ran on the test courses are 229 327 and a 206 100. This puts it at, like, you know, 26th, I think, on my list. So it's not terrible, but it's also just not great either. Right in the middle, just nothing special. Now, if we move one little tiny step up, it's a 1969 Maserati Ghibli 4.9 SS Coupe. Now this car actually feels great to drive. The only problem that it has is that it understeers a little bit, and that's the car I was driving in the intro. It looks good, it feels nice. It has a 5-speed transmission, which actually is kind of nice. One of my favorites in this game is to drive a 5 or a 6, and for this older car to drive a 5, I like it. It actually feels nice. It feels planted, it feels controllable. It's a car you can actually take out and drive in the grand races, but I'm telling you right now, probably not going to do that well. It's not that fast, and it's just, I don't know, it lacks in so many ways compared to a lot of the meta cars in Street 1. All right, let's take one more step up, and that's the 1987 Buick GNX. It's just the base model GNX. It's not the Donk, it's not a lowrider, it's nothing. It just has regular Street 1 handling, and it does okay. It's not a terrible car. It tests just slightly better than the Ghibli at a 229,079 on Kyusha Spirit and a 205,989 on Kiss Me Combi. So it's really similar to the Ghibli. It's actually quite controllable, feels okay to drive, just doesn't have the acceleration and the power, and that's kind of sad because I love the GNX. It seems like every game just completely trashes these old Buicks, and I don't know. I really like the GNX. I want to see that thing be awesome in one of these games. Anyways, let's move into the 1971 Hoonigan Chevrolet Caprice Donk. This car actually feels pretty good too, but it tests very similar to those other cars. They're all bunched up in like this very weird, like not good, not bad state. And the last car is actually pretty decent. So anyway, this Chevrolet Caprice Donk is a 229,869 on Kyusha with a 205,146 on Kiss Me Combi. Again, as you can see, these cars are all right around the same thing. If you look at their averages from the Caprice Donk at 217,508 all the way down to the Westside Lowrider Edition at 218,861, you'll notice they're only like 1.3 seconds apart in terms of average times for both of those races. So in terms of testing, these cars are just all right. My favorite car to drive out of those ones, before we talk about the last car, is the Maserati. It definitely just feels nicer. It actually feels more modern than it is, and I think that's just, you know, an ode to Maserati, because they were making amazing cars back in this day. So this is you know, that's the car that I would prefer out of those ones. But let's talk about the one car, that the only car in Street 1 that we got new with season 4 that's worth anything, and that's the Jaguar DType. Now, I did 2 tests on this one. I tested it with and without a wide body. This is important. If you're not going to run the wide body, you're definitely giving up time. This car is much faster with the wide body. It is grippy, it turns on a dime, it has a very sharp turning angle. It just feels a million times better, and here's the difference in those times. With no wide body, I ran a 230,362 on Kyusha Spirit and a 205,726 on Kiss Me Combi. Both times they're all fine, they're just in line with everything else. But with the wide body, I ran a 226,764 on Kyusha Spirit and a 203,621 on Kiss Me Combi, and that puts that car in the top 10 in terms of test times. That's crazy. That's a crazy jump. I knocked off almost 4 seconds simply by adding the wide body. I didn't change the tune at all. Just went with no wide body, then added the wide body. The handling just improved 100%, and it's just crazy. 4 seconds difference on Kyusha. Now, in addition to that, the 203 is like 2 seconds faster on Kiss Me Combi, which again is incredible because that race doesn't have any spots where it handles. Like, there's no testing the handling on that. It's very straight. It's just right at the end when you have to make those turns, this thing grips up with the wide body, doesn't grip with the standard body. So that's what you want to do. Now, in terms of getting these cars or unlocking these cars, there's only a couple of cars that are a little bit challenging to get, and if you don't have the Crew 2, it's going to be an issue. But let's talk about it real quickly. Every car that I've talked about today is available in the Motorfest store, except the Jaguar DType, which is the only car worth anything. You have to collection import that from the Crew 2, or you have to wait until August 7th when it comes out with a new month. And the Maserati Ghibli, also collection import only from the Crew 2 until September 4th. So you have to wait 2 more months for the Maserati, but the Maserati is really not worth anything, so you're not missing anything by not having it. Anyways, that is it for the new Street 1 cars for Season 4. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment if you like this style of video where I talk about multiple cars as opposed to just one car every day. These take longer to make, and I have to take sort of a little bit more time in between making these types of videos, so keep that in mind. But I would appreciate constructive criticism in the comments. Just let me know. I want to read through them after we publish the video. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.